And what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy T-Bar, and my partner here will introduce himself.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy SP Madao.
And this is our first commentary on our new presence here for the Smite community on YouTube. That's what's going to look like, and what we're going to do is just do a commentary over a ranked game we had the other day. You'll see a few familiar names in there, and just talk about our plans for the future and showcase a little gameplay and basically just talk about stuff. Yep.
Now, we figured that this game would be a good way, just a good one to start because we're not going to go hard on this. This is just more going to be about us just talking over the game. However, in future reference, if you want to have one of your games on here, if you want us to commentate it live, we'll gladly do it more of an SPL style type of a commentary without a problem. However, like I said, this one is just really to introduce ourselves, so we're just going to be, for the most part, talking over it. All right, and we already stated that there's going to be a couple of names you might mention in this, which there is. And they're not the reason why we picked the game. It was just a good overall game with a very unique team comp in which we just played well together as a team. A couple bad plays, a couple good plays, and then both teams did pretty well. So overall, it was a pretty fun game to watch.
All right, we're gonna hop into the replay here, get this game going. It's a good game, very fun to play. yeah, like SP Madao said, man, it's interesting team comp to say the least.
Yeah, and for the most part, we're going to try to pass you guys games where not so much it goes back and forth. Sometimes they're going to be lopsided games. It really depends, but as long as it's fun to watch. Like I said, this one went back and forth for a little bit, and it was just a relatively fun game to watch. Well, and have you noticed both me and T-Bar, we are in this game, but we're not just going to upload games where we're in. We're going to upload games that you guys may be in if you guys decide to send us one, or we're just going to upload games that people on our friends list or people that
we know
are other people.
So hopping in right now, everything's pretty standard. Well, now I'm actually just talking about the game. Everything's pretty standard. Sylvanas ban, Bologna ban. Lloyd, why don't you talk about your feelings on Sylvanas, because they're a bit counter meta, I guess.
They're different. They're different.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm main support, right? So obviously Sylvanas is in my wheelhouse, and I do love the guy. I enjoy playing him. However, when I like to counter pick as a support because it's such an underrated counter pick. For instance, if your opponent picks Geb and you go Guan Yu and or Ares, Geb can't do anything in lane. You can it's easier to just destroy him basically, especially if you have a early game hunter that can clear away for relatively efficiently. So with that said, I love to give my enemy Sylvanas. I love to give them Sylvanas because as long as I got a early game hunter like a Neef or Medusa on her, someone that can, or even an Amus and Cab who has a pretty good wave clear, or Uller, just anybody that's wave clear enough for me to go Sobek. And Sobek's wave clear isn't that bad for a support, but go Sobek. That way, if Sylvanas pushes up against us, I can put him under tower, put the anti-heal up, and knock him back to keep him under tower. Or I can throw him into minions and do the same effect. It's 100% counter to Sylvanas, and then if Sylvanas gets wary, he's going to start playing passive. Like if he gets pulled twice, he's going to start playing really passive, which should allow you to start out clearing them and get you the lane control back.
Yeah, hopping into the first picks here. Obviously, picking Kabrak in first pick was leaving Athena open, but I mean, knowing the players that were on our team left a little bit of confidence to be had in that. If they're prioritizing this god, I mean, it's going to be a fun game all around. I'm sure they're going to play their gods.
Yeah. The thing is, once your masters are high enough in Diamond, it really doesn't matter who gets first pick, who gets second pick, who gets their pick. As long as like you guys are just having fun and just picking who you guys think are your go-tos or who you just want to play.
Yeah. So obviously Athena Medusa being a very, very, very popular dual lane with the taunt going into the Medusa ult. Really simple combo, but very, very powerful, effective combo. My thought here was Rama was my go-to god. Rama for a couple of reasons. One is he's just a comfort pick for me. Sometimes if you're caught in a matchup, you may not know what to do and resort to your comfort picks as long as it's not like a counter, like as long as you're not going up against a counter to a character you want to play. But to me, Rama's a comfort pick. I've played Rama quite a bit. I mean, I have him diamond, as you can see. Also, he doesn't do too bad in this matchup. Having the rolling assault to get out of danger. Decent laning phase with the Astral Arrows. Even with a nerf, he still has a very good laning phase. Obviously, a very, very good scaling
He
hunter,
still
too.
gets out pushed by Medusa. He still gets out pushed by
He's
Medusa
still going
though,
to get outpushed by
naturally.
Medusa, yes, but he
Uh,
still will have a decent laning phase. He's definitely going to scale a lot better than Medusa, so.
mhm. Now, one thing I like to point out, that was like supposed to be support Aurora Bracken, but I asked him like 3 times in curse. It's cool if I go support. No one answered me, and I didn't realize that that was support Bracken. I thought jungle or solo like any other person would, and well, I ended up picking Ares because no one was answering me. I'm like, fine, I guess that's cool. So obviously that's me in the support Ares, and Bracken ends up going mid. Spoiler alert.
It was a Mika Bracken. That was a thing that happened this
I'm
game.
going mid Bracken mid.
Yeah.
Yes. But looking at them, they just drafted a Nemesis. Very smart pick. Obviously, Kraken and Ares is very low mobile, and if she can catch Kraken when he has this one down, Kraken's kind of screwed. At least for until it comes back online. But at that point in time, he should get bursted with just by the ult combined with Medusa and Aura.
Yeah, you can see Paradox hovering Ao Guang, Anubis, Hija. All interesting picks here. Honestly, we said it wasn't exactly going to be the most standard team comp.
I didn't mind the Ao Kwang actually. If he went Ao Kwang, I mean, he would have been able to execute Raw or execute anybody that was inside that heal before they got a heal up to too much, and then we could have re-engaged knowing that they had a man down, even though they would have been healed up.
Oh, one of the
So
things we've been overlooking is I think you have a lot of affinity for is Cabrakan Ares. Why don't you touch on that a
I
little
love
bit?
that. I love that. I love Quebec and Ares for 2 different reasons: the offense and the tank. Now, I'm gonna harp on the offense. Everyone knows Ares gets beats out, whether you're using your one in the early in the game or it's your ultimate in the late game. Now, if you get beads out, that means during the fight, really, people aren't going to be able to beat the tremors. People aren't going to be able to beat the Kabrakan stun. People aren't going to be able to get out of the Kabrakan walls as easily, especially if you have like a Poseidon or someone with a cripple who can put that down underneath the walls and the Kabrakan tremors. So it's great synergy just coming out. Really, Ares synergizes with a lot of characters, but just because Kabrakan can trap people and our team can follow up with a lot of CC, and the fact that they can't beat it is just really good. But more importantly, something that's very overlooked is the defense you get from that. Now, Kabrakan's passive is very good for the early and mid game. Obviously, it gets like what 5 protections for both magical and physical, and maybe a little bit more. I'm not entirely sure. I have to check that out. But that's pretty good, especially for the laning parts of the phase. Plus, it adds to the minions as well. But Ares' 2 actually gives, I think, around 50 on both, or I could be way off. But it's like it's between 30 and 50. It's one of those. I don't play a lot of Ares. I'm just getting in, like just starting to play a lot of them. But he gives to the team this aura and himself this aura that's relatively tanky on both sides. Combine that with a sovereignty and a heart ward, your team has a lot of magical and physical protections as long as Ares and Kraken is nearby. Now, in some games, what I like to do is max out chains first, no matter what, of course. But some Ares players will max out chain first, second. I do it on occasion. But depending on the game, I'll sit there and max out my 2 second, which means that I'm getting as tanky as possible right off the bat, and I'm allowing my team to stay in the fight longer. Combine that with the Kraken passive, combine that with any items that Kraken may pick up. It's a deadly combination. Makes you guys extreme. All right, so we're just gonna hop in the match and looking at the loading screen right now. Let's talk about the teams in general. I mean, looking at them, obviously advantage on the red squad. They have the mage, they have the burst. We don't necessarily have any burst. Rom not known for his burst. Nasia does have some form of a burst, but it's extremely unsafe, and people are going to know exactly where she's landing, so they can counter kill her. And she's not necessarily guaranteed to kill off her ult, depending on when it's used and how it's used. Kabrakan is known for his burst, but he isn't known for his 100 to 0 burst. He's known for his 100 to 50, 100 to 75 burst. And by 175, I mean I take away 75% of your HP. I should say 100 to 25. And then Umbot, although I consider him a hybrid carry because he does a lot once the late game hits, especially come out when he uses passive efficiently or get those RNG procs, but he's not burst. So at the end of the day, just off the fact that they have the heal, they have the searing pain ability to just snipe out multiple people, advantage to the red squad.
Yeah, hopping in the game here. Just looking at initial starts, initial builds, things like that. One thing I want to talk about is my build. I started with the Morning Star. which is obviously the Heartseeker build for hunters. Um, this is probably the most common start I'd say for hunters, but I personally don't ever count out Dev Gloves. Dev Gloves always a great build. I still like it, especially on Xbalanque is my main one. I don't usually build Heartseeker on Xbalanque, just because I don't know why. It's just the feel to me. Um, Obviously, Heartseeker is a little more risky. You get a little more reward out of it, but never count out Dev Gloves. Always still a great start, especially if you're gonna have a gankable lane or someone that's gonna severely outclear you.
Personally, my feelings towards that is if you're playing Artemis, if you're playing Shibalanki, if you're playing Apollo, Heartseeker's the way to go. I mean, Rom can kind of get away with it because he goes even in a lot of matchups, but for the most part, that's the way to go. If you're up against like an Anher, a Medusa, a Neith, you're not gonna outtrade them early, more than likely, unless they miss all their autos or don't bully you correctly. And you're probably not gonna do too well in the farm department either in comparison. You're probably going to be pushed under tower a lot. So overall, it's a lot smarter to go the Dev Gloves route in that certain situation.
Yeah, hopping in here, obviously you see Aurora just popped a purple pot, actually. Um, his plan, I remember him talking about, was just he really wanted as much early aggression as possible, even if it is a little bit greedier. It was just, it's not exactly a standard start, but obviously a very funny and interesting start, especially with
It's not
how
just,
greedy it is.
it's not just his plan, though. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You get an elixir early. You're
Not an
looking for
elixir, a
first
pot. Man, if you got an elixir early,
whatever
damn,
pot, yeah.
you're playing a different game mode.
Oh yeah, that was my fault. But if you get like the purple, I don't know why I thought like because League calls on elixir. I haven't played League in like over a year. I don't know why I thought that. But if you get the purple pot or the red pot, just to increase your raw damage output, you're looking for first blood. Doesn't matter who you're playing. Doesn't matter who you're playing against. You're looking for that shit.
Yeah, something that was really surprising me was we were out pushing the dual lane. I don't know. I really don't know how this was. It was just we may have got to lane a second early. I don't exactly remember,
Nope.
but we kept.
Know how it was. I know how it was.
Yeah, go
it
for
was
it.
my positioning, and I'll tell you.
All
why.
right, brag about it.
I was positioning myself a little bit forward in front of their melees, so when Athena has to put the shield wall down, right? Medusa was too scared of my chains, didn't want to get too close to me, so she was kind of just auto-attacking from afar, and obviously with that nerf on her too, with the range on it, she wasn't in range to hit the wave with it. Plus, Athena went for the taunt on me every single time to put me into the shield wall, and as a result,
Oh, I do
there was
remember
no
that.
poke on you, allowing you to get through the wave with your Astra.
Yeah.
So overall, that's essentially how that happened.
Yeah, you just saw first blood go down there. Never underestimate a Wheelix early game damage, man. It's scary, early game. I'll tell you what.
Early game, keyword there. Early
Yeah,
game.
early game. But I mean, you did see how much burst that Feather Step did. It's a lot of damage. So.
Feather Step does a lot of burst, but it's an extremely unsafe move. She has the same problem Asia has, where in order for her to get all of her damage down, she has to put herself in a terrible position, and as a result, she'll probably end up dying for it.
Yeah, so
Well,
here
you just see a rope fall down. There was a rotation by the solo Nemesis to the mid lane, and that really spelled
solo Wheelix, Nemesis or jungle.
Solo Wheelix, my
Yeah.
fault. But Nemesis still rotated over.
Yeah, that's
A
true.
little bit late. That spelled his doom.
Yep. So here's what we say here: that this early game was going to be a little tough for us to be expected. I mean, a little bit. Obviously, Naja has a very very good early to mid game. Kabrakan, compared to a Ra, isn't going to have the easiest time in the world. But
The problem is Ra's
yeah.
their heal. If Ra utilizes that heal correctly, Kraken can't clear.
Yeah,
And he's just gonna take damage.
yeah.
For it.
Looking at me getting very very poked out here. This was a decision.
Go to the mid lane. Go to the mid lane.
Oh.
Go to the mid lane.
Got you.
There's a big stop breaking out to the mid lane. A triple taunt gonna set me up to die, as Unbox manages to separate two, and as a result, Athena will fall down to the Tremors and in-hand combos from Homie FA and Aurora. Luckily, it was a 1-for-1 trade, support for support, but in comes a Willock. She jumps over the wall. Unfortunately, the knockup doesn't hit, but the Feather Step does. Gonna be able to secure Aurora. She takes a tower shot for her troubles, but overall, it's a win for the Red Squad.
Yeah.
Kills reading 1 to 5. It's not looking good for us.
Oh, Wheelix made a lot of great rotations in this game. The thing I want to talk about here was that I touched on. I was about to start before was my decision here. I stayed in lane with a Medusa in lane, whose Acid Spray can do a lot of damage. And even though I was at a very very little amount of HP, I didn't bring up the chart. If I did though, you would have seen my golden hand is around 1,030, I think. And to finish Heartseeker, you need 1,140. So my decision there was I was at such an awkward amount of gold that backing early would have really offset my stacking because I knew she was definitely going to have enough, especially after clearing the wave before me. Sometimes that risk needs to be taken. She wasn't freezing me, so I knew I was safe. So as long as you're not getting frozen, as long as you're playing safe enough as to not let yourself get ganked, sometimes taking those risks may actually be worth it in the end.
I didn't know Ymir was in the game.
What?
I didn't realize Ymir was in the game.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ymir's not in the game.
Yeah. That's
I
true.
just pulled the DM Brandon, ladies and gentlemen. That was the joke, actually, pulling the DM Brandon.
Okay. I don't know what the point of that was.
It was shout outs to DM Brandon. I love that. I love DM Brandon. A lot of you guys might disagree with me, but I just like the fact that it's unfitted to say how it is, and I failed that chain so hard, but I managed to get a double pull off. It's gonna bait out both the Athena and the Medusa ult. I'm assuming you're watching that, T-Bar.
Yep, I'm on it.
And yeah, so like I said, I'm trying to build Ares up into being in my top 3 out of supports. The number one thing I struggle with this game is long, narrow line moves, and I thought Ares is the perfect way to practice that.
Yeah. So this is basically what SP Madao touched on early game with what is it, Kabrak and Ares combo. They both have multiple ways to bait out beads, and I just died over there. Okay.
Yeah,
I just kind of got caught out, kind of pushed up. Yeah.
I had Athena caught by chains, did some damage. She was obviously gonna get flamed before me because she was at the entrance while I was not, and then just weren't paying attention. That's really all to say about that.
Yeah.
But right now I'm a level down. We haven't really had mid camp control. Unfortunately, that's because when mid camps were up, we were pushed.
Yeah, you'll see here even Aurora is looking pretty low as mid camps come up. Nemesis able to secure rights on her own. Athena rotating over for left. So. And Hunbot's definitely low too.
So it was just unfortunate how it went, how everybody on our team that's supposed to rotate over mid camps couldn't because we were indisposed at the moment in time. The first time around I did rotate over, but I rotated late because we were pushed and there was no one to now rotate. But at this rate, the game's not out of control. Like, a lot of people would think that the game is completely out of our hands, but it's only, what, 15k gold in the lead for red team. With a 2-6 slash line, they should really have a bigger lead, but they don't, which means that we are definitely in it. But going over to the right side, move over to the solo lane, T-Bar.
Yeah, I'm on.
You see a gank coming out.
I like this play.
And Willis gets a little bit frisky, trying to tower dive. When she had no minutes, takes a lot of tower shots, forward troubles, and then an in-hand from Huyefe after the feather step from the cliff. We'll be able to pick Willix up, so that was a great return kill, especially since at that point in time Willix was pretty big. Homie F getting that shutdown gold, really allowing Tumbas to transcend past the Nemesis on the enemy team, who's /Irene004. But in the mid lane, it looks like a great Ares pull, not going to pull anybody, but even better, Kraken going to trap too while the chains do come out. Going to be able to pick that up, that kill going to me.
Yeah.
Onto Shekia. This all comes out. I don't exactly know who it hit. It hit somebody. It looks like it hit Hoonbots. Definitely not the target that Nemesis was looking for. And overall, no one dies from that engagement. So, at least from our side. So that was a great trade coming out of us. We almost evening up the kills. It's about 2 left.
Yeah, on the red side, only Awilix being the only one that can get around Aurora's ult, around Kabrakan ult. She's the only one with a leap that can go over obstacles. Something I want to touch on though with the Awilix play in the right lane that happened like a minute ago was the part I did like coming out of Awilix were beautiful beads. You saw the perfect beads onto the Naja ultimate. A lot of the times Naja players will sash straight into point blank ultimate just to guarantee it, and that was a beautiful snipe by Raw. But so that was really heads up by Awilix just to straight up beads, and it worked out that time.
And Paradox?
This is the Dem Jukes, baby. Dem Jukes. The only way to counter Hunters, Dem Jukes. Midgardian Male, Hide of the Nemean Lion, and Dem Jukes. The only way to counter Hunters.
No, Cloaky played that really well. Paradox, he made Paradox sweat for it and lose half of his mana bar.
By the way, I know Naja is not a Hunter, but yeah.
Yeah, but Go Fear gets started up here. Neja gonna go on to the
This is a really big fight for us. We're still about 2k down.
looking at this fight, unfortunately, if she didn't draw aggro on those minions, she actually would have gotten a double kill there because the ring actually bounced to the minions where it would have bounced to all three of those, and those two low targets would have died to Neja. So that was a big unfortunate play. Great play coming out of Neja, just unfortunate. But I managed to get in there in time thanks to Neja, Blink, ult, and turn that fight around. We managed to get 2 for the price of 1 as me and Kraken just
And the Gold Fury. I do believe we get the Gold Fury in this situation. Oh, no, I'm thinking of a different play.
Be able to pick up Medusa. Medusa does fall down. Once again, the kill is given to Ares.
Taken. I like how you subtly just said taken.
I took it. No, I took it. It was 1 auto attack away. I had my chain ticks down. I can't control my chains. I can control my fire, not my chains. Cabrakan was 1, but here's the thing. Cabrakan was 1 auto attack, and he was about to lit it. And then mid-animation, I just put another chain in. I'm like, nah, my kill.
So that was a really important fight for us. Obviously, it was a very, very risky Gold Fury play by the red team. With only having 3 of them on it, Raheel not even doing enough for that. And with us being as down as we were, we could not let that go for free. And it did turn out in our favor. We did lose Naja in that fight, but we wound up picking, what, 2 or 3 kills? And preventing the Gold Fury. It was a definite win on our part. It was a definite win on our part.
When you look at that goalie, that was 1,500 before, now it's just 200, so overall, we did our job in staying into this fight. When you look at the experience lead, in fact, I'm going to pull up the chart right now, you should probably do the same.
Yep.
The experience lead skyrocketed back up, it's only at 767, so it's really non-existent at this point.
This entire game, both XP and gold, almost dead even.
When you look at, like, really where the deficit is coming out of, it's still Willix to the Unbots, and that's just to the fact that Willix is 4-1-4. It's really just the slash lines, the kills that are making her that far ahead of Fumi FA. And as I say, Willix's kills, and actually, no, Willix is in the jungle, I forget everything I said. Willix and the Neja are actually only 1 level separate, so Paradox actually doing a very good job of keeping up a level, given Willix being relatively thug.
Yeah, so, looking at everything right now, let's take a look at builds.
Quick,
yeah, go ahead.
Gold Fury being started up yet again. Ares and Ram are pretty much the only 2 people on this side, and if you pay attention to what I do, I kind of just walk up there, and I managed to dodge the Medusa and steal the Gold Fury by turning around. Ram goes into the air just to give me some cover fire, as at this point I'm probably going to die, but I survived long enough to get my ult off. Granted, I don't get the pull, but it buys time for the team to come in, and the cavalry kind of just cleans up here. But I want to mention on how I was able to steal that. They thought that I didn't get taunted for 1, which was a giant mistake coming out of pocket. But they thought that the Medusa ult was going to hit me. I was able to turn around just in time, and I think that they were saving my CC because they may have thought that I was going to ult there. But instead, I held my ult because I knew if I ult, by the time my animation completed and I was able to drag them off the Gold Fury, they would have gotten it. So I just stayed in, knowing my best option was not to ult and just trying to walk up to it. And as a result, I get rewarded. Our team gets rewarded with the Gold Fury in the lead.
Yeah, something I want to talk about here is I decided to back while this is going on. Obviously, we have a bird's eye view when looking at the game this way, and I guess I just misplayed by not looking at respawn timers, but for some reason I was afraid of getting rotated on, and I decided to back because I was afraid of having no mana. I probably could have gotten a lot more damage off on tower than I did there. A slight misplay on my part. All around is not really going to hurt us too much, but it was just lack of attention on my part. Always pay attention to respawn timers. Medusa wasn't up for, I think, another 15 seconds. Ra was coming up in 3, but his rotation was unlikely.
I gotta ask you a question. I already know the answer to this, and it's mainly because you're playing Rama and you have your 2. But, power boots over attack speed boots.
Power boots over attack speed boots. It's only a little bit of damage. Looking at it, what is it? It's only 20 damage. And I believe attack speed boots give you 15% damage. I mean, 15% attack speed, 15% damage. Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah. 20 damage, 15 attack speed.
Yeah. So it's only 20 damage, which allows for a little more poke. This is especially used for gods that poke a little bit more than Rama, but I still don't mind doing it on Rama. With your 2 being such a huge steroid late game, and you're already building with a Heartseeker build, Aussie, and Executioner, and then you have a steroid on top of that, it's a little bit of overcapping, so sometimes you can afford that 20 power instead of that 15% attack speed. Yeah.
It's a lot more.
Exactly.
But yeah, so that's what I thought the reason was. It was just because of the stun that your 2 gives you. Certain gods can get away with it. Obviously, gods with attack stuns like Artemis, like Rama, like really any, even Amuzi can kind of get away with it if you're ahead enough to the point where your highs are just putting in a lot of work. But for those that, I hope you were watching the mid lane while you were talking about that.
Yep.
Basically, a bunch of shit went down. Tier 1 tower goes down. Aurora just falls down to the Nemesis ult. And I'm cutting around minions at this rate as Paradox is real quick in the solo lane. I'm just, not in the solo, in the mid lane. I'm just cutting around minions long enough to bait this Nem hard into Homie FA and Paradox. They will be able to pick her up with the enhance from Para and the artillery. I mean, not the enhance. The enhance from Homie FA and the artillery sash from Para. Fear No Evil comes out on the Raw, so just gonna push him up against the wall. Raw tries to ult, but unfortunately, it's to no avail as the Universe Ring will be able to pick him up before the animation concludes. Athena goes in there. They know that her dash is down as she did use it in an attempt to stay in Raw, but unfortunately, she did the one play that a lot of players do. I'm gonna go save my team. They die. I'm still gonna go in. And you guys kind of just go in one by one, and it gets to the point where you're just relying on the snowball.
Yeah. Something I want to talk about Hun Bots, you'll see Hun Bots doing this a lot, is using his jump for damage. There aren't a lot of gods in the game where you should really be using your jump for damage. Hun Bots is definitely one of them. If you guys didn't know, a very, very not underrated, just underknown passive about Hun Bots, his jump, if landed, does slow the target. So that's a really great passive to have on a leap. So if someone's getting away, you can use your jump offensively, and you'll be able to stick them a lot easier.
I wouldn't say passive not the right term, but CC most definitely.
All right, yeah.
Because passive is more like let's say Uller, whenever you put a point into his ultimate. That's more of a passive.
Okay, yeah, fair play.
But I forgot exactly what I was gonna say. Therefore, I'm just gonna say again and sound like Barack Obama.
What?
All right.
All right, now just my fellow Americans. I don't know why I said that. Like, silly reason.
Anyway,
Gold Fury about to come back up. Let's get back on the topic of Smite.
Evil comes out, Nemesis ult does come out as well. Homie FA gonna be able to get out of that even though he went in 1v3. A great teleport gonna keep him out of trouble as the Ares ult does come out. Gonna bait out the Athena ult. Now at this point, red team is more grouped than blue team is. However, they're going after two separate targets. I get Athena taunted, unfortunately there is no follow-up. Homie FA manages to escape. Aurora putting out that curse, trying to chase down the Raw. Unfortunately, Raw manages to beat out the stun. Great feather stuff hitting on both me and Aurora. Going to do a decent amount of damage. Not too much,
Yeah.
obviously, with the two tanky targets.
There's another huge misplay on my part in that. Was staying in lane for way too long. Our team grouped up. I was way late to that fight. I don't know how much it would have changed if I got there earlier, but I was in lane for way too long. If I rotated quicker, there could have been a little bit more of a possibility to catch off guard and initiate that fight a little bit faster, which maybe it would have helped us. So.
Well, looking at this rate, red team has a big advantage. I mean, they have the Whistle, they have Searing Pain, they have the Medusa ult. There's no reason for really our team to really win this fight, given just how much control the red team has. But when you look at the top left by the enemy's purple, Bracken manages to wall off too, and we try to follow ult to the best of our abilities, but in comes, I want to talk about that Searing Pain, that Medusa ult, managing to CC us and just pump out a lot of damage. Fear No Evil does come out. It's going to save some lives, but unfortunately I will be the sacrificial lamb. And this should be a Gold Fairy. Nemesis Shield comes out, and that's just a pain because she was one auto away from.
Yeah, I was salty after this play. I was really salty after this play. Another misplay on my part, so I'm playing a little iffy right now.
The one saving grace we have is the fact that it took a long time to get the Gold Fairy since Athena was playing way too aggro, so for going on to the gold. Yeah, we're not going to talk about these body blocks here. But there's not really much you could do.
The shield plus the body blocks plus the thing, and then Homie FA with the Sacred Monkey picking it up. Okay.
Red team will be able to secure that Gold Fairy thanks to just the fact that Raw has heals.
I love this play. Aurora getting juked out hard. I just thought that was funny.
I believe it's weakening at this stage in the game. Yeah, he does use his weakening tools, but it's no avail.
But we'll talk about Nemesis does use her beads there to get rid of the weakening curse. Weakening curse has a 60-second cooldown, beads 3 90 seconds. So that's a very slight win in cooldowns on our part. So
that, and if Raw isn't around, yes, Nemesis is a crazy heal, but if Raw isn't around and the heal isn't that big of a deal, it's still somewhat relevant thanks to the Aussie passive coming out of Medusa and the heal from the shield. But if you could just straight up outburst the Nemesis, it's not the biggest of all deals, especially if she can get trapped in a hyper chain where she has literally no escape. That wasn't meant to be a pun, just have to say that because people think I'm making a pun when I play Ares. Uh, By the way, homie FA manages to catch out Athena. I land a chain on her, gonna lock her in place. She has no dash. Paradox and Artillery Chest manages to pick up, and at this point, we need Nemesis didn't have the beats down, and Roar pointed it out to me. So I'm able to get it chains on her, allowing her to pull and saving homie FA's life by killing her off. The Tremors comes out, and as the steering flush, unfortunately, we both get knocked out of it pretty early. Not doing a lot of damage, but at this rate, Kabrakan and Ares are just, the Buffaloes are just trying to zone out 3. Homie FA does manage to fall, but a great Asia ult. Gonna find Medusa with the enhance from Rama, gonna be able to pick her up. Alux's ult is not coming, obviously it being down, as I'm just being a fat body trying to make sure that both Kabrakan and Paradox was able, and then Asia was able to get out in time, as they are at this point in time after back to base, as really just Kabrakan's the only Ram, I should say, is the only one that's healthy enough to really continue that fight.
Yeah, obviously with a fire giant being a possibility here, it was very, very important that we keep as many people healthy as possible and keep as many people able to come back as possible. So that was the whole reason I didn't engage on Ra there. You saw me and Ra kind of have a little stare down at the mid camp. I could have possibly gone in, but the other thing was no vision on Nemesis, and if I had maybe horribly misplayed that fight, obviously a huge advantage to Red Team on the next fire giant fight.
I want to point something out that Roar did in this build that's just beautiful. Obviously, he was up against Ra, and he kind of needed the magical protection just to deal with the way the game was going, and just to deal with Ra in general, especially since Ra went to do more Brout. So he started the Stone of Gaia, but he left the Stone of Gaia at, I believe it's called Emerald Talisman. Yeah, that Emerald Talisman. Emerald Talisman gives you, like, what, 100 health? And it gives you a good amount of magical protection, 50, and decent HP 5, MP 5. But more importantly, you still get that passive with getting the bonus HP 5 gain, where you're getting healed, kind of like the Bluestone passive, but just for health. So I just love the fact that he put it at the tier 2 because Willix was ridiculously fed. Not only that, but Nem hurts like a truck if he manages to get the ult onto Kabrakan, so he decides to go straight into Steel Mail. More than likely going to finish off into Mystical, as you see he does have at this moment in time. So great itemization coming out of Aurora, noticing who the real threats are, which wasn't Raw in that case, and how to counter build it.
Yeah, another little thing I want to point out there is Kabrakan can get rid of his ult with one auto attack, so when that ult missed, he was able to just clear it out quickly. Don't stand there wasting your basic attacks. Just have Kabrakan smack it once. It'll go away.
There is one play you can do with Kabrakan ult. Let's say if you go for it, and you don't do this on a whim. Like, it's kind of like how you use your mirror wall when you're pushing forward. Let's say, you're pushing down against one of their Phoenixes at a time, whatever.
Well, that though, we got another big engage here coming into the mid lane. You see Ares go in, get a lot of beads out, and then Red Team engages now. They have no beads, although we're losing this fight. But Naja able to come in with the ultimate, takes, I believe it's someone out of the fight. So Wheelix, I get the last basic attack off there. Athena coming back in, no ulti now, getting really low. Aurora gonna be able to get the ground pound off, hit 4, kill Athena in the process. And now we're just still going on this fight. Medusa gonna go down to Paradox, and Ra stuck under tower, the only one alive.
The key to that fight was the Fear No Evil. Neja Paradox found a really nice ultimate onto the main target, though, Willix at this stage in the game. And just homie FA falls through with it with the Fear No Evil line to separate the team long enough so that we can get enough damage out. Now, back to my point, let's say you're in that same exact situation, right? You're pushing, as a team, you're pushing on Phoenix, but you're catching someone out, and then those walls miss. And this is the only situation that you can do with it. Leave the walls up, because then what's going to happen in mid lane, your minions are going to pass the walls, and instead what's going to happen is it's going to allow the second wave right behind that to group up, so now you have a super wave. It's kind of like how you use your mirror walls when you're pushing down. You'll block off your own mini wave as much as possible. That way it allows the second wave to catch up, and then all of a sudden you have a super wave of, 12 minions who can sit there and just do a lot of damage to the Phoenix. It gives you a really strong push.
True. All right, so coming in, we're taking a huge lead now at this point. 12,000 XP, 5,500 gold. Taking Gold Fury, that's going to put it at even higher, probably close to 6,000. And Fire Giant is now a huge threat. So we have it obviously going into the Fire Giant fight, and this is where things start to spiral out of control. Now we're just snowballing. We do have a lot of damage. Like, we don't have a mage on this team, but we have a lot of damage. Kabrakan does a very surprising amount of damage. Rama has great scaling. Naja does a crazy amount of damage, and Hunbot's still obviously being Hunbots. So
now the key to really what this is it is so much damage. The fact that Ares is so good at taking out CC mini builds and beats, and since I'm able to get that out, every single person on our team, with the exception of Rama, I mean he does have a couple of slows, has a lot of CC. With Fear No Evil and the soul coming out of Wound Bots, with the stun and the fact that Neja can take anybody she wants out of the fight for the longest time, and with Kobrakan with Tectonic Rift and the double stun plus the tremors, it does a
Tectonic Rift.
lot.
That's
That's a
not
lot of
Thor.
damage.
This ain't
I
Thor.
mean, no, Tectonic Shift, Tectonic
Tectonic
Shift,
Shift.
Tectonic Shift. And the name shouldn't be fucking the same thing. Let's be honest, they're the same exact fucking name. But anyway, with the Tectonic Shift and the tremors and the double stun coming out back, there's just too much CC for them to handle when they don't have any form of CC immunity.
Yeah.
To be honest, I would have liked to see Magi's Blessing coming out of the Nemesis and the Willix a lot earlier than what it did. Willix managing to do it after she gets Transcendence, but because they didn't get it on quick enough, we kind of snowballed. And especially after we get the Spire Giant, obviously I'm able to hog it in time. Or it was Kobrakan, I forget who. Someone got taunted there. Was that Amir or Kobrakan? And Kobrakan manages to pick up Sheka with a very unnecessary ultimate, but an ultimate.
Kobe is what he was yelling all game.
Oh, hey, he did a fade away. Yeah, according to him, if you do a fade away with the ultimate as Kobrakan, you're pulling a Kobe. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah. So all that fight came down to was Aurora just doing zoning. Always just having a tanky frontliner kind of zoning, and then three of us were on fire: Ares, Naja, and Rama. So you have two DPS there and a Guardian.
We actually end up spoiling. We actually end up fucking up here, and more specifically me. I get too big for my britches here, and I end up doing a very aggressive play that I was trying to back up Aurora, but I blinked way too far, and as a result, I get melted, and it was just a giant misplay coming out of me. It doesn't matter how strange you are, how good you are at this game, you're gonna make big misplays. As a result, Aurora dies too, just trying to save me. This big misplay, but luckily we still got 3 on Fire Giants. They're 3 damage dealers who still have a lot of control in their own right. Neja managing to find a great double stun into a ult, and I don't know how that double stun happened. I just saw that they were both stunned, but she's able to get out Afro Samurai. And as a result, they're able to turn that around. At this point, the fight is 3-2, and we still got Fire Giants, so giant advantage to us.
Yeah, something I want to mention, just a little hint of education, with how much people ranted over at the beginning of Season 2 with people tanking Fire Giant. As an ADC, I like tanking Fire Giant, even though it does cut down your healing and your lifesteal. It's easy to tank. All it is just count in your head. It's every 3 auto attacks he knocks up, and then the pools come out, and then it's still 3, I believe. It's either 2 or 3. I think it's still 3. So it's just it's count. So it's 1, 2, and then as he's throwing the third, the knockup will come out. So I don't know if I panned over to it well enough, but
you described it a little bit weird. It's more like 1 auto attack, 2 auto attack, knockup comes out. It's the knockup.
Yeah.
Auto. It's 1, 2, knockup comes out.
So it's pretty much
2, a tiny delay, and then the pools come out, and then it refreshes.
So it's just attack. You count 2, and as it's about to charge the third one, just start moving over. You'll dodge it. You don't take a lot of damage from the standard autos. It's the knockup and the pools that do a lot more. So if you're able to tank it correctly, you don't have to get your support that low.
A great play coming out for the blue squad here. We managed to pick out Athena. Her ult, she might have one. No, it didn't go on cooldown. She was able to. She got bursted before she really jumped into the air there. And then Aurora and
going man
able
mode.
to catch Ra out long enough for us to be able to pick her up. I pick him up. I'm pretty sure that I get gifted with the skill. Yeah. Ares does get gifted with the Sharing Flesh and Chains combo. Nemesis is split pushing, not the right call. She's going to get a tier 1, but she's allowing a Willix and Medusa to be alone once we have a Phoenix push going on here. And a great play by Aurora, not exactly engaging on them, but just
zoning. Zoning. Simply zoning. Yeah.
Not overextending, not what I did at that first Phoenix push. But Aurora actually does a very good job here prioritizing the Magi's off of Willix as opposed to getting some on Medusa. Medusa's old club does come out, but really is to no avail. We get the Phoenix anyway, and now that we know Magis is down for, what is it, like 100 seconds now?
Well, that's going to be next. Oh, no, it is this patch, yeah. No, it's just 60 seconds, I believe.
60? No, I'm pretty sure. Wait, hold up. Let me hover over it.
Yeah, 60 seconds. 60 seconds.
Yeah, so 1 minute, 1 minute. So overall, that's still a minute though. That's still 6 seconds. Anyway, Fear No Evil comes out. Umbot's is gonna try to get the telly RNG proc to get the kill. Unfortunately, it isn't the case. But Tonic Shift will be able to get it. Only if he does that eye sync. However, Route ult does connect to Kabrakan, but I want to tell you why he lived there. He lived not because of his passive. He would have died. He lived because of sovereignty, because of Heartward Amulet, and because I activated my 2. That's just a lot of defense. It doesn't, like, some people like to say, Ares is the most tanky person in the world if he's behind or whatnot. If you're behind, don't max out Saving Flex. Match out your 2. You'll become tanky.
Yeah, and now obviously with the deicide coming out, this is just the siege on the Titan. Haha, attack on Titan. The joke's been made 1,000 times, and now it's just the end of the line.
Joke, I didn't even say that. Nobody was saying that. The people watching aren't even watching this yet. But anyway, Flocky ends up landing a very funny taunt. Double kill for Athena at the new game.
Double kill for the found damage. And that's the game, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so
GG, like I said, a very good back and forth game, which was overall fun. No one was BMing, it was just a really fun game.
We were laughing a lot in the curse. A lot of good times. So, alright, now, so at the end of the game, let's just to close out, so this is our, obviously, like I said in the beginning, our first video, so we want to hear you guys' feedback as we start to grow this a little bit, grow this project, start a community, get bigger, the Smite community, things like that. Give us your feedback, tell us what you want to see, tell us how we can do better, even in terms of camera work, commentary, anything. If we said something wrong and you disagree with our opinion, let us know. We would like to hear all of it. So please, get vocal.
I'm gonna rephrase that. We didn't say anything.
All right. Well, let's try to be modest.
Nah, that's the fuck. I'll be cocky. I stole that gold fairy. Anyway, no, that allowed us to get back in the game. No, that gold fairy still allowed us to get back in the game really easy because they would have snowballed if they got that.
Alright.
But anyway, so overall, just GG to everybody. We'll obviously mention every single person that was in the game that was part of it on both sides of the team. Well played by all aspects. Like I said before, everyone made good plays, everyone made bad plays. If you want to get showcased on here, man, message us. We'll do a custom game, or we'll sit there and we'll watch your games live and actually do legitimate commentary.
Yeah, comment, or you've seen our in-game names. Message us in Smite even. So anything you need.
Or if you send us a replay, right, then we'll just send a commentating like we did now, where we're really just talking over it as opposed to just doing a regular cast. I mean, we can still do a regular cast without a problem. Just actually tell us your preference if you just want us to talk over it, or if you want it just to be a cast, kind of how I like the SPL guys do it. Where T-Bar will be the play-by-play, and I will be the color com. Unless you want to switch it up, I don't know.
We could switch it up every now and then. Alright, so two last things I want to mention. Two last things I want to mention before we go is, one, we do want to start streaming. We're going to get that going as soon as possible. We'll let you know, obviously, how that's going to work. We'll make a channel on Twitch. It'll be on Twitch. We'll get that all sorted out and let you know how that's going to work. So I've streamed a little bit in the past on an old account, so that's a ton of fun for me, and I'd love to get that going with this community. And the other thing I want to mention, to get you guys excited, I have Xbox One beta codes, because Hi-Rez loves giving those out to people that already have a code. So I have a lot of extras. So if you all have Xbox Ones and would maybe want to get into this my beta before the game is released, I'm going to try to organize a giveaway of some kind to get those codes out to you. So look out for that in the future.
I have an idea for that. If you want the Smite beta code, this is what you do. Watch our video, sit there, tell all your friends, and have your friends put inside the comment section, this person sent me here. The two people that send the most people there, and we'll check them in a week's time frame. We're gonna do it a week's time frame. The person that sends the most people there, we'll sit there and we'll.
Here's the thing. I'm not gonna start it. It's not gonna be a week from today. We'll start it in a little bit because we'll just get some stuff sorted out first. But I do like that idea. So definitely look out for that in the future. Any other closing remarks before we head out?
Like, comment, subscribe, share our name, etc. And like I said,
thank you for
this
watching.
Is for the community. It's not just for us. So send in your stuff. Contact us. We want to see your play. Thank you for watching, guys. I'm your boy SP Vidal, and he is
the boy T-Bar.
He's just a boy. He's just a tiny boy.
I'm a boy.
Anyway, we'll see y'all later.